are there. Hello, welcome to Aspiring Teen Chefs again. Yes, I'm sitting in my garage and I am wearing a toque and a heavy sweater because it's cold. We've just went out of minus 45 degrees and it's about minus 30 right now. So even though my garage is heated, it's really cold outside and my garage is cold too. So I'm sitting here with my dogs and I wanted to kind of give you a little update on what's been happening, why you haven't seen us for a while. Um, Also, I wanted to let you know that I was supposed to do a geode cake for my daughter's birthday, and we filmed it, and I went to edit it, and guess what? Some of the kids had deleted some of the footage, so actually most of the footage, so it's gone. So I'm not going to show you that. So just a little update on us. So you all know that we moved. So the kind of the story that went into the move is we sold our house in December last year. The people who bought it were kind enough to let us live rent free until January, I think it was the 7th. And we had to move into a rental house for a month because this house here, wasn't ready. The owners needed a little bit more time to get into their new place. So we rented a place for a month and then we moved into this place. And we have a lot of stuff. So a lot of stuff went missing. I had to dig and dig and dig. We had part of our stuff in storage. We had part of the stuff in storage here. Plus, in the house that we rented, we had a whole bunch of stuff there, obviously. So we are now here in our house and we're settled in. But we had some renters that we had to take to court because they weren't paying rent because there's two homes on this property. So I had a lot of paperwork and I had to file stuff with the court and stuff like that to get them removed from the property. We tried to end it as amicably as possible. But when we went into the house after they had moved out, it was trashed. So then I had to work on getting the house all cleaned up and repaired. I'll try and insert a couple of photos in here while I'm talking. And yeah, it was just a real mess. So it took me months. And then we had a big bout of sickness at the end of May. So we were all out of commission for about 4 to 5 weeks. And then we also had to get our chicken coop finished for our new chickens, which had already been ordered. And thankfully, I had some family come and help me with that. And plus, my husband and kids, they were really awesome. Hang on. Excuse me. No, I'm not sick. So then we had our garden to put in and we had our chickens to care for over the summer. And I also had to drive to another province and pick up bees because Air Canada is not shipping bees from New Zealand anymore. So I wasn't able to get any packaged bees. So it was just a bit of a woohoo. So this is going to be a bee video back in the summer. I just thought that this would be, since I couldn't do the original video, this would be a nice one that I filmed and I haven't actually edited and put together, but I'm editing it and putting it together now. So you can see some nice, beautiful, oh so warm summertime green stuff with no snow anywhere and dead leaves and everything else. So I'm going to give you this bee video because I did promise in an earlier video I would do that. And shouldn't be that long, just kind of on basic bee care. I'll be transferring my bees from the nuke to their new hive and at the same time kind of setting up everything for them so that they're good to go. And yes, we got about 10 pounds of honey this year, which isn't very much, but that's because a nuke is only like half the size of a hive. So those bees had to build up, and I wanted to leave them enough stock over the winter, especially since it's bloody cold, and so that they'd be protected over the winter time. And I don't have to start fresh again in the spring. So fingers crossed, we'll check in the spring and we'll see. And I think that that's about it. Oh, one other thing. So my girlfriend, her name is Nikki, she owns a little company called Woven Opulence, and she actually sent me this stuff all the way from Britain. So I wanted to kind of do a special little thing These are hand woven. So this is the necklace. This is the bracelet. And I think, sorry, I'm trying to get a good view. It's a little stiff. But honestly, you know, you wear these and you don't even feel them. They're not heavy at all. So that was one set. And the other set, it's just beautiful. I just love it. She asked me my favorite color, and she actually made it in my favorite color. So just kind of get these up to the thing. So these are the earrings. They're just beautiful. And then with the earrings goes, pardon me, sorry, I got twisted here. This little bracelet, it's just gorgeous. And the necklace that goes with, oh, got hooked on one of my earrings here. I kind of have a table here that's got slats in it, so. But with all my kids and my husband home from Christmas break, it's just too noisy in there. So, and then this is the necklace that she made as well. And they're just beautiful. I'm going to put a link in the description so that you can order from her. She does do international as well. And she also does bespoke. I'm not sure what the deal is with the bespoke, but you could always message her and ask her. And she does fabulous work. And she's slowed down now because it's after Christmas. So this would be an awesome time if you wanted to order something, because things have slowed down a little bit. But on to our bee video. And again, I apologize for being away for so long. I've been filming videos. It's just the editing process, sitting down and putting them all together and, you know, making sure I'm not, you know, scratching my ear or something while in the video. And I also try to bring them down to a size where everybody can watch them and go, okay, well, that's not so bad. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to say goodbye right now, and I'll show you the video. Bye. Hello everybody, welcome to another Aspiring Teen Chef, and you're probably wondering what in the world is going on. Well, I don't know if you remember, I was talking about how I was going to do some bee episodes and some chicken episodes. So we've kind of had a rough few months. We've had renters in our old house, they trashed it, so I was basically fixing that up. And then we all got the big C, not the CA, the CO. So we ended up having to kind of recover from that, but we're all fine. We all made it through and we're doing good. So I'm going to start off just kind of giving you a little bit of information about the bees. So my grandma raised bees, and when I got old enough, I always kind of wanted to do it. So here I am. Sorry, I got a few bees landing on me because they're not liking I'm standing by the front of their hive. I just wanted to show you a little bit about the bees. I don't know if you can see them coming in and out. This box here, let me reach over. There we go. It's called a super. Now you see I've painted this one. This is my hive number 1. Had to start over because I lost all my bees in the winter. And I got some bees from a fellow in Saskatoon, well, just outside of Saskatoon. And this is on my hive box number 1. I call it my lilac. Now, why is it painted with lilacs on it? Well, it actually helps the bees to orient. They memorize the picture on it, and then they go to their own hive instead of going to the next hive over. Now I only got 1, but I do have lots of stuff, so I will be planning on splitting my bees. Probably not this year, but next year. I'll start a nuke, I'll transfer them over, and we'll just keep going from there. The other equipment that is useful for bees is, this is a black frame. This is what the bees use, this black stuff. Now I use just plastic foundation, and it just helps the bees get a good start. I may end up trying, maybe not this year, but next year, without the foundation. Because if you see, it might be hard to get out, but you can see that the foundation can actually come out. And I might try going foundationless next year,
and let the bees build their own honeycomb, because I do want the wax. I do get quite a bit of wax from this in the fall when I harvest honey. And so this is black. We generally use this for at least your bottom super and then a next super. And this is easier to tell if your queen's actually doing what she's supposed to. And I will show you when I'm going to check the hive what we're looking for. This is your yellow foundation. It's generally what most beekeepers here use for their honey collection. And it goes above your 2 supers for your hive, and they deposit honey in here, and this is what you can take. As long as you leave them enough honey for winter, and they need about, well, I like to leave at least 100 pounds for them for the winter time so that they can survive, because they will move around the hive and they will eat their honey reserves. The queen in the fall, when it gets to be fall, she gears down her egg laying, and then they just kind of go into bring in as much stuff as they can to fill up this bottom guy, and the extra the beekeeper gets to keep. Another important piece of equipment, is our smoker. So our smoker is what calms the bees down. They're not 100% sure how it works. Oh, it's really stuck. Hasn't been opened in a bit. First time this year. So they're not 100% sure how the smoke works to calm your bees down, but they say it masks the pheromones of the queen and any panic pheromones, because when something goes into a hive, the bees will panic. They'll kind of get into a little like, oh, what is that? And then they'll, oh, look at that, I got a bee on the screen, checking it out. So that's why you see a giant bee on the front of the hive. They will give out this pheromone like danger, danger, and the smoke helps to mask that so that they don't freak out and take off. So I'm going to be doing a couple of different things. Oh, sorry, one last tool. And this is called my Hive Tool. And they sell them at bee stores. I'll come up a little closer so you can see it a bit better. But this is a Hive Tool. As you can see, it's well used, well loved. And honestly, this thing works for so many different things. So I'm going to do a little close-up of this so you can see it. So, funny little story, when we got some windows replaced, the window guy came and he had one of these. And I said, oh, you have a Hive Tool? And he goes, no, I actually use this for taking off trim and stuff. So this is like, honestly, a super handy little tool. I don't even know who makes, oh, it says Richard. Richard makes them. So they're super handy for pretty much anything that you need prying, and they're really good for the hive. If you don't have one, you can just use like a metal putty knife or those multi-purpose tool putty knives. I never know the name of them. But anyways, I have this, and I've had it since I started doing bees about 6 years ago. So today, as I was saying, I'm going to do a multitude of things. So I just got these bees a little over a week ago, and I need to check the hive, make sure that they're doing well. I'm seeing lots of activity in and out of the beehive, so they're probably doing really well. But I want to make sure that they're not building new queen cells. And you might be wondering, what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that is that half your bees will leave with the old queen, leaving an unborn queen, and the hive will have to start over, and you'll have half your bees. So that's not good. So we're going to give the queen more space. So we have a new super box that we're going to put on top. Again, black frames, because we want that queen to have enough room so that she doesn't feel like, oh, I got to get out of here, it's too squishy. Also, I'm going to be installing a new base for this. I should have done this to start, but I didn't. I forgot that I had ordered these. So what this is it's a screened bottom. So one of the problems with beekeeping in today's world is something called Varroa mites. They're a black little mite and they can kill your bees. And we don't want that. It can make your bees very sick, and if your hive gets full of Varroa mites, your bees will leave. So what this does is this screen is not big enough for the queen or for the bees to get through, but as bees are shaking, they will shake off a mite or two, and it will fall through the screen. And then we have a white backer board so we can see exactly how many mites we have. And if I start finding mites, I'm going to have to test how many mites, and then I'll have to medicate them. And I'm actually thinking, instead of using chemicals, I've heard a couple of different naturopathic ways to get rid of Varroa mites. So there's a few other things that we'll be looking for. One is wax moths. And what wax moths do is they deposit eggs in cells with the baby bees before they hatch, and they'll eat that up, and then the actual moths themselves will eat all the wax, and your bees will leave because they don't want to deal with a pest. So we'll also have to check for that. There are a couple other things that I won't be checking for today, because the guy I got the bees from had his hives all inspected before they came here. But Varroa mites are everywhere now, and they attack bees and they kill bees. So one of the problems with this is, of course, your abandoned hive syndrome, and you don't want to lose your bees. I love bees. I always encourage everybody who ever says, oh, you know, I always wanted to do bees, do it, man. Because it is really rewarding. You get that great honey at the end, and you're actually saving the world one hive at a time. I know it's corny, but we just really, if we don't have bees, there's no pollination, we all die. And I don't know about you guys, but I'd like to have a planet left over for my kids. So, like I kind of said at the beginning, why am I outside showing you bees? Well, number one, I said I was going to show you chickens and bees, because that's what I do. And we'll be doing more things out here on our farm. But chickens and bees are food. Like, not the bees themselves, obviously, but the honey that they produce are food. It's the most natural sugar product that you can use. Sorry, there's a lot of flies out today. It's been super hot here. It's been in the high 30s up to 40s. And so I've been kind of waiting until it cooled a little bit. Today's a little cooler. It's, you know, I actually don't know what the temperature is, but I think it's around 30 degrees. So it's dropped about anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees, which is good. I've also picked the late morning because most of the bees, the forager bees, have left. And they're out collecting nectar and pollen right now to bring back to the hive. So when you open up your hive, not so busy. You won't have 3,000 bees in there. You're only going to have maybe 1,000. And yeah, that sounds like a lot, but it's really not as bad as what it seems. So if bees creep you out, I'm sorry. You can just skip this video. And I'm going to suit up, and I'm gonna light my smoker, and then I'm gonna open up this. So we'll get into why the suits are white when I come back. So one thing that I wanted to show everybody is this nice little spike belt I kind of made around my hives. And you might be thinking, oh, that's for bears. Actually, it's not. It's for skunks, because skunks will lay under a hive and they will eat a half a pound of bees every single night. So I put up my little spike belt to keep skunks away, since we do have a skunk around here. And I've seen them multiple times trying to come through my bee area. This is my bee area. It is a little enclosed. Sorry if I'm spinning too fast. It's got some shelter and it has water nearby. Bees need water. Why is it sheltered and closed? Well, bees really don't like wind. Sorry, I'm adjusting my camera. Bees don't like wind, and if your beehives get too hot, it stresses your bees out. And that's the last thing that you want to do, is stress them out. So here's a nice little shot of our bee area. And as you can see, I have lots of room to expand, which I plan on doing. Okay, so here I am in my big polar bear suit, and these things are bloody hot. So almost wish that bees flew in the winter, because then you'd be really insulated. But anyways, I'm in my suit, so I'm gonna open this smoker and I am going to get a fire started. I'll show you how I do it. Many people have different ways of doing it, and yeah, I'll just show you how I do it. Handy dandy tool. So you want a fire, but you don't want a hot fire. You just want to have smoke, and you want your smoke to be cool, or else you're going to burn your bees, and then they're going to be unhappy because they're going to send out panic pheromones, and that's going to bring a lot of bees back that happen to be close enough to smell it, and it's going to stir up and agitate the bees in here. So you want to have smoke. You don't want to have a burning hot fire. So I'm going to get some birch bark, and I'm going to start my fire with that, and I'm going to grab some green grass and some twigs and stuff. Lots of people I know like to use burlap. I never seem to have burlap, so I never use that. But I'm going to go get what I need, and I will be back. All right, so here we are, prepared. It's always best to be as prepared as possible when you start with your bees. You want to try to not have your hive open as long as possible, so make sure you make a mental checklist or an actual list. It's up to you. So I've got some birch bark, nature's paper, and I'm just going to scrape it a little bit so I get loose little bits that'll catch nice. And I'm going to tear this up into little strips, put that in to start burning. Best stuff ever to get stuff burning in there. You don't want to put too much because birch bark does burn very hot. So I'm going to crunch this up. I'm so fortunate that I have a birch tree at our new place here. So great. Then I'm going to put in some green sticks, because like I said, you don't want a hot fire. So we did some tree trimming. I got some green sticks. Still has a bit of green in the leaves. We're going to pop that in. Something a little bit more substantial so that it keeps burning, because you don't want it to go out, because you don't want to have your hive open and have to restart your smoker. It's kind of a pain, and you got to make sure you have enough fuel for how long you're going to be farting around with your bees. So, that one doesn't want to break. There we go. Bent it just enough. And then I am going to load it with some green grass. Why green grass? Oh, it'll just smoke, and it'll be a cool smoke because this has some moisture content in it. Again, you want to make sure that you have enough stuff in your smoker so you don't have to light it halfway through, which I've had to do multiple times when I was first learning how to do this. Okay, we've got it nice and packed. Now there is a air hole down here. I'm gonna just move stuff over a little bit. Then I'm gonna put a little bit more birch bark kind of in the front of it. Not where the air hole is, but in the front of the smoker, so it'll light the birch bark underneath and it'll get that fire going. It just takes a few minutes to do this if you do it right. I've spent hours, well not hours, but felt like hours, trying to get a smoker going while I'm standing in front of a beehive. So let's get our birch bark going. As you can see, it goes up nice. Put that in there. It'll get that birch bark underneath going too, I hope. Unless I put it out by mistake, which I just did. Okay, we're just gonna let that kind of simmer and percolate here for a minute. Let it catch fire. Then we're gonna close her up and give it lots of air. We're actually gonna do that right now. We're gonna give it lots of air so it can get going. Okay, I'm gonna close it up. Don't have to worry about stuff kind of hanging out. This does get hot quickly though, so don't take your time closing it up. So all we're going to do is we're going to just let a little smoke go around the entrance. Gentle squeezes. Kind of lets the bees know we're coming in. And I'm going to put my hood on. Now, probably wondering why I'm not wearing gloves. Don't like gloves. They annoy me. So, I'm going to put on my hood though, because I don't like the bees slamming into my face if they're aggressive. These are new bees. Haven't, other than transferring them from a nuke small hive, it's a half size. Other than transferring them from the nuke to here, I haven't opened this before. So we're gonna get our base ready. over here out front. Now, you should always approach your hive from the side or the back, never the front, because you will have bees coming in and out of the hive and they will slam into your face, which puts them on a little bit more guard. So you're also probably wondering, oh, those frames look terrible. They're not super duper clean and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bees don't really like the super clean frames. They like it when you got old frames. So we're gonna pull off the lid. This is our outer lid. And we're gonna put this upside down because the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take off our inner hive lid. So, bees make something called propolis, and what that is, it's like a sticky glue. And they like to seal up all of the holes. But they've done such a good job here, I might have a little difficulty getting this sucker off. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that cracking noise, but that's the propolis breaking. And propolis is actually super good for you. They consider it a superfood. And I love eating propolis. So, my girls have been busy, and this super is getting super full. As you can see, they've been building honeycomb up here to fill the gap between the frames and the lid. So I'm just gonna shake these off. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt them. Best thing to do is be careful though, because you don't want to put your finger on a bee, because that will hurt you. So I'm just gonna give it a little bang to get the most of the bees off here. They don't all have to come off. You just want to make sure your queen's not on here. Chances are she's not. Chances are she's in the frames, laying eggs, doing her job. But I'm just going to check just to make sure. I am not very good at finding queens. I will be honest with you. The only time I've ever found queens is when they're dead. So now we're gonna do a check of this. So I'm actually gonna move my rack holder to this side since I got my camera on that side. So these two little things, they just hook on to my stand, and then as I take frames off, I can just move them onto here. So, and this guy is looking pretty darn full. I still see one frame that they haven't really done too much on. So you just have to very carefully separate the frames, because like I said, they will stick everything together. And look at that. My stupid fire went out. Let's see if we can get it going again. Oh, I was telling you how it masks the pheromones. When my grandma was doing bees years ago, she told me it made the bees sleepy. So we're not gonna like drown them in smoke. We're just gonna try and get them off of the top of the frames so that we can scrape off this extra wax, and so we can pull some frames out. Now you might be thinking, wow, this isn't very active. Well, that's because, like I said before, it's during the day. So we're gonna pray out this frame because it, quite frankly, looks the emptiest out of all the frames. And separate them. And as long as you don't squish a bee with your finger, you're usually okay. So nothing's really happening on this frame. It's empty on this side. I can see that they're building up some stuff on the other side, which is good. And I think I found my queen. How about that, hey? I never find a queen, but I found her. So that's weird. So I'm actually going to put this frame back in and leave it alone because I don't want her to escape and leave. And they generally don't. They want to stay inside the hive. So I'm going to pull this one out instead. I'm going to put this puppy back. And when you put your frames back in, you should try and put them in the same orders because the bees know. So again, this side is empty. And this side they haven't even really started on. So since I know my queen's on my other one, I'm just going to hang this one up here. Now this is part of the stuff that I got from the nuke that I bought, and as you can see, he used foundationless frames. Sorry, just having a looking, and yes, you can flip your bees upside down, which is what I'm going to do. I think I have, oh, that's a drone. So sometimes it's a little hard to see if the queen is laying eggs. Here, this doesn't look like an egg. Oh yeah, I have, no, that's nectar and pollen. Generally, the queen likes to lay in the center of the hive. As you can see, I got a bee landing on me. It's all good. When you take your time and you're gentle and you're not loud, the bees don't even really notice you. The worst time I ever had was when I accidentally dropped one of these frames on the ground and they crawled up my pant legs and were not very friendly. So I'm trying to see if there's larvae here. That's what I'm looking for. I see pollen. I see that they're building the frame out. They're building out their honeycomb. Okay, this one's a heavy one. They're really building this out. Okay, I have lots and lots of capped babies here, but I'm not seeing any eggs. But I'm also not seeing queen cells. So queen cells means your bees are not happy and they're gonna leave. So, just to kind of give you an idea, this dark brown stuff here, that's all babies. And they're capped off, so they're gonna hatch out. And then all of our girl bees are gonna come here and they're going to take care of these babies until they're bees. And then when those bees are ready, they become nurse bees, which means they take care of the babies until they're big enough that they can take off. And this hive actually has a ton of drones. What's a drone? Everybody, I used to think drones were the guys who went out and flew and got honey and stuff. Nope, drones are males. Males don't have only one job in a beehive, and that is to impregnate other queens. That's all they do. When there's a pregnant queen, they somehow know, or when there's a queen looking to mate, they somehow know, and they come and they will fly, and it's at a certain altitude, and my stupid smoke keeps going out, so I'm just gonna try and get this going again. Sorry, so drones. All they do is they impregnate the females. The only bees that do any work are the females. All bees, most bees are females, and they take care of the queens. They take care of the hive. They take care of any babies that are hatching. They kind of do all that kind of jazz. And yeah, I always found it interesting that when bees in the fall, when it gets really cold out, it starts getting cold out, the females literally boot out the drones. So, and they do not winter with the females. I'm about halfway through my hive inspection, and now I haven't seen any like little stringies which usually indicates that you have a wax moth problem. I haven't seen, come on guys, let's move. Let's move. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this one. Now, oh, you know what, I should show you. I have a tool for grabbing these frames too. I just find it a tiny bit awkward. So this is my tool. I don't know if you can see it all that great, but it picks up frames. The only problem is that sometimes it damages the cells, and no matter how careful you are, yeah, just sometimes catch a bee, which you don't want to. So, and you have to, I find it's awkward because you got to use the two hands. So again, we have lots of brood. We have tons and tons and tons of drone, which is good because if the bees feel like their resources aren't good enough, they will never waste their resources on hatching drones. Okay, so that's exactly what happened to me last time I got stung. So they are not going to be happy with me. Now I don't really have to worry about them getting back in the hive, the ones I dropped, unless I have a queen that fell. And contrary to popular belief, you can have more than one queen. So I'm gonna leave these guys for a minute. Melting. It's one thing about bees, they don't like strong scents. So whether that be perfume, deodorant, if you ever have bees flying around you when you're wearing perfume, it's not because they think you smell good. It's because you stink to them. Okay, look at how much nectar is on this guy. Let's make sure I have a good hold of it this time. Well, you can see on this side too. Now this is one of the frames that I put in, and this sucker is full. So it's a good thing that we're gonna add another super to it. Again, I don't see any problems with mites or anything else. Not seeing any sick bees. They're all very healthy. They're all doing their job. Now we want to keep robbing from happening. What's robbing? Well, that's when more bees find your beehive and start coming in and stealing the honey. Because then you'll actually get a bit of a bee war happening. And we don't really want to do that. There should be enough resources here for 50, 60 hives. So we don't want stealing going on between the hives. Now, as you're pushing these frames together, if there's any bees that are kind of in the way, they will move. Generally. Not always. Sometimes they're really stubborn and they don't want to move. So this is called a Langstrom Hive. It holds 10 frames. Now this is good for queens. They like to have lots of room. Now before I put our other box on top, I'm going to transfer them onto a new bottom. So I'm actually going to lift the entire thing off, put the new bottom off on the bottom. I'm going to lift off the hive, put it on top of our new bottom. Now this is one of the reasons why we stack our tops kind of crazy, and this is going to be heavy because this is pretty darn full. So, and it's really weird, but I've seen 2 queens in here, possibly 3, which is not usual. So I don't want to grab it where the bees are because I don't particularly want to get stung, so I'm just going to move this over so I can grab it from the sides. Now it's okay to slide because they will get out of the way. as long as you're slow and gentle. No bugs, no bees in there. Yeah, this is heavy. So we're gonna move this over here very gently and put it crisscross. And we got a lot of bees on here. So I'm gonna pull out my cloth. Okay, now they're really angry again. So before I get stung, I'm gonna back away. Okay, I'm gonna pick up this bottom board and I'm gonna give them a little shake onto the other bottom board. So they all go in the hive. I'm gonna put this in front of the hive because they will go into the hive where the queen is releasing her pheromones. It's all good. And I'm going to put this new bottom board on. And we're going to put the hive back on. So we're going to try and do this as gently as we can so we don't squash any bees. They will settle down as soon as they realize that nobody has killed the queen. We're also going to put our new box on to give them lots of room, give that queen lots of room to lay eggs and to progenerate. So again, there's kind of a technique to this. Kind of put it on where there's no bees and then you slide. Now I want these bees to start using the front entrance here instead of the top entrance. So I'm actually going to flip this around so that this entrance here, because this is a fairly strong hive, is here. They won't be building up wax here all over. They will actually take these resources back into the hive. It's all good. And I am going to give this bottom board one more quick shake. Try and get as many bees in there as I can. That pretty much did it. We'll leave this bottom board here. And we're going to put our top lid on again. Same method. We don't want hardly any squish bees, because if they get the idea that every time the person in the white suit comes, some of them die, well, guess what? They're going to be aggressive. And we don't want super aggressive bees. So anyways, white suit. Sorry, kind of left you cliffhanging there a little bit. Why do beekeepers wear white suits? We wear them because, quite frankly, bees don't know what polar bears are. However, they do know what black bears are, grizzly bears, and many other predators that will eat bees or their honey are dark colored. So, for example, black bears, probably the most disturbers of hives, they are black. So they always recommend wearing white colors because bees don't know what polar bears are. They're not usually hanging around. So, yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the bee video. My bees are a little ticked, but by tomorrow, actually, but in an hour, they'll be fine. They're just a little ticked off right now because I had to do so much. But now I probably won't even disturb them for another at least week. I generally check once a week unless I notice there's a problem and I have to do something about it. So yeah, I didn't manage to step on a nail spike. You have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
Alrighty, guys, so this is just a brief thing. I have been thinking about doing a new channel, and what it's going to be is murder mystery kind of stuff. I'd like to focus mostly on Canadian cases that aren't covered much on other YouTube channels. So I kind of wanted to know what you guys think, if you think that's a good idea or a bad idea. So let me know in the comments if you think it's a good idea. If you're interested, I've got a couple of cases I'm working on right now doing my research. So let me know, and you guys have a good day. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you don't like the video, thumbs down. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.